Alright guys, my name is Chris Gutierrez with Metro Valley Ambulance. I'm a paramedic for going on 27 years now, and I've been a power stroke mechanic for the last 10 years, working on nothing but Ford Power Stroke diesels. And I have two 2008 wheeled coach E450 ambulances to show you. These are a matching pair. I'm going to go ahead and do a walk around tour, and then we'll start going through the outside compartments and into the interior. The one on the left here is has 75,000 miles. This one here only has 56,000 miles. Both of these were stationed at a nearby airport, Van Nuys Airport, so they ran very few calls. Most of the miles on both of these are from guys driving to Subway or to get food, and not a lot of call volume coming out of the airport because that's not a public airport. So, but they did respond to calls in the surrounding area, but it's mostly commercial over there, so not many. So really low mileage. They need nothing. Well, okay, let me back up. This one, I don't like a couple things about this one. I'm going to change a couple tires on the back. Today when I was cleaning it, I noticed that the rear sidewall are a little cracked up. I'm not sure about the interior wheels on the dualies back there. Have to check those out. So I'm going to change two of the rear tires on this rig. The other one, they're fine. So there is that. But aside from that, they need nothing. They're mechanically mint. They run great, and they're deployment ready. I mean, they're ready to run 911 calls today. Oh, and they both have Stryker MX Pro gurneys in there. So that's an added plus. If you don't need gurneys, I can definitely shave that off of the price and keep those. But let's start. Oh, another thing I should point out is we repainted the sides of these things, so you can see the paint is fabulous, and that's because it was repainted, both of them. So if you look at both of them, the sides are mint. And the reason for that was after we took the graphics off, you could still read what it said, and that isn't something you probably want to deal with. You know, you don't want to be able to see what it used to say underneath the graphics that you're going to put on there. So you want a clean slate. Both of these have a clean slate, man. There's nothing, no sign of what it used to say. So there's that. All right, let's go through that. We'll start with the low mileage one. This is 56,000 miles, and we'll start going through the compartments. This is the oxygen compartment. It is set up for an M tank. You could put an H tank in here. Has a regulator. You'll notice there's two lines coming off here. One's a high pressure. You can tell from that it's a high pressure line because there's a gauge on the action wall inside, so you can see exactly how much is in the tank without coming out to see the tank, you know, without coming to look at the dial, the gauge on here. So that's pretty convenient. You'll notice also that all the exterior compartments are sprayed with this it's like a Line-X truck bed coat, and it just makes it more durable from throwing stuff in and out of there. It also helps a lot with the insulation for heat and cold on the inside, and it does make for a quieter ride. So there's that. And then all these lights will come on, but the engine has to be running or the key engaged for these lights to come on, and they come on as soon as the exterior doors is open. But I have the key off right now so you can hear me talking. So there's that. In this compartment here, you can put extrication equipment or restock supplies here. There's an adjustable shelf in there. There's that. Good size compartment. There's backboard compartment. Pretty large. Let me do that. Does that help? There's 3 shelves in there, so if you want to put headbeds and seat collars or sandbags or whatever you use to stabilize heads, you can put that on the shelves. And then on the other side, you can put several backboards. There's room for a folding flat on this side. It's big enough to accommodate a scoop stretcher if you carry that. And there's that. It's not big enough to put a Stokes basket, but not even a folding one. It's just not wide enough. So, you know, there's that. We'll go in the back in a minute. I'll just finish knocking out these compartments. Here's a space for turnout gear if you want. There's also, you know, the oxygen compartment's big enough for the driver to put turnout gear over there, helmet and whatnot. This could be the passenger turnout gear compartment or just more restock supply. There's space there for 2 SCBA tanks. There's also a rack that's integrated into there for 3 oxygen D cylinders. You can't fit an E tank in there, but you can put 3 D tanks in there. And then this is the side door to go in there. We'll get in there in a minute. This is your jump bag compartment for your portable suction, your jump bag, your trauma bag or whatever, your monitor, all the stuff you're taking into your rescue would be here. It's also accessible to the inside there. Down below is a slide out tray for the batteries. I only have 2 batteries in there. It'll accommodate 3, but for my purposes, I just have 2. My purpose is I rent ambulances for film and television production for TV shows. So yeah, I just need 2. Some of my ambulances only have 1. So here's that. Let me fire this thing up so we got juice to the back, and then we'll get in the back and start going through everything. And here's a sneak preview of the cab. I'll let the glow plugs go. Okay, let's take a look. Alright, so back here we have, this is what our back is looking like right here. So, you know what, let me pull the gurney out real quick, just so we have space. Alright, and here's the gurney, by the way, and it's got a oxygen cylinder rack. It's got the IV pole on this side there. It has a pull handle in the front, and it's the 650 model. The first wave of the MX Pro, if you know, it's 500 max pounds. Then it was 600, and then 650 was what they came up with. So that gurney is not, this is like a 2008 MX Pro, same as the ambulance. And over here is a glove butler. You can put 3 boxes of gloves there. Purell hand sanitizer. Here's the back. The floor's in great condition. There's no tears, there's no slices, there's no whatever. You'll notice that there's a variety of floor hardware here. So if you don't use an MX, or if you don't use a Striker, this configuration, this will work with an MX Pro, with a Striker Easy Pro, or a Furno Model 35, handles the same style setup. If you do have a Furno Model 28 or 28Z gurney, you would use a different style. There's another floor plate up there, so you can it'll accommodate that. You can see that right there. So there's that. Here's the back. You've got this area here, big space there. It was kind of customized for the crew that was in this rig. Kind of modified the shelf and used some headbed padding to kind of keep things in place. There's 2 big drawers here. You can customize those however you want. And then there's a little shallow space here for extra belts or restraints. or whatever you want to put there. Here's the CPR seat. If you want more counter space, you can put that down, and bam, you got more counter space, but I don't think you need it. I mean, that is pretty generous counter as it is, so I like having an extra seat personally. Underneath here, it's a shallow space for, you know, emesis basins, bedpans, urinals, that kind of stuff can go down there. On the other side, here is, well, above the rear doors, there's space for like extra boxes of gloves, whatever you want to put there. There's a clock. Above the bench seat, there's another more storage compartment there. And then there's an IV drawer. So if you're sitting on the bench seat starting an IV, you can put your Tegaderm and your needles and your tourniquets and everything there. Convenient spot. Underneath the bench seat is a large space for a traction splint. You can put a hair traction splint, will fit in there, or Sager, pillows, blankets, all that stuff can go there. And then there is oxygen outlet. If you have a patient on the bench seat, they can have their own O2. This is called the ALS wall up here. There's a shelf. Again, that's accessible to the side door. This over there. There's a couple drawers. You could put whatever you want there. And then this is like big enough to put a file rack in there. So if your patient care reports or refuse to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Refuse of treatment forms, whatever else, accident forms, that's can all go there. And the AC is up above there. Then we have a jump seat that's in mint condition, which is really rare to see. Usually they're pretty cracked up and have holes just from guys, you know, wearing turnout pants and having crap in their back pocket. These usually get torn up pretty good, but this one's perfect. It's got an integrated integrated child seat, and there is that. And then this is the action wall. So let's get into. There's suction canister, blood pressure cuff up there, the Sharps container. Oh yeah, now the radios are staying with the ambulance, so these are included with the ambulance. They're not functioning because the radio brain, the head, these are just the radio heads, but the brain has been removed. So you can make these function if you want, but the brain was removed just because it has all the frequencies and everything programmed into it that apply to here in Los Angeles, and letting that go could cause problems. So that's been removed, and all this stuff stays. So let's get to the switches. So we have the patient heat or cool. You might be able to hear that just came on. It's on medium. There's low, medium, and then high, and then that's kicking out from there. You can probably hear that. What determines whether it's heat or cold is you got a thermostat right here, and then you just, you know, dial it in if you want heat or kind of heat or cold or ice cold or whatever. You just control it from that. What's great about this is it's independent from the front cab. A lot of ambulances require the front AC to be on if you want AC back here. But this is a completely independent unit, so you don't have to, you know, the guy in front can have what he wants and you can have what you want back here. There's that. Then we've got the dome lights. So if you'll notice here, they're on high. Oh, that's to this side. Okay, so there's the high, and then that's the low. I can't turn them off because the doors are open and they automatically come on when the doors are open. But you can see they're all functioning and have the correct bulbs around. On the other side, there's off, and then there's low. So off, up, And these ones don't come on when the back doors open or the side door opens, just this row. So there's that. And then now you'll see here's the oxygen gauge right here. There isn't a tank, so it's reading 0, but whatever would be in the tank, you can tell right from sitting here that you got, you know, you're down to 200 pounds or 100 pounds and you're still far from the hospital. You know you got to switch over to portable O2. So it's really convenient to have that right there. And then you'll notice that the oxygen bypass valve, what that does is you don't have to deal with this if you don't want to deal with it. If you see it's on right now, that means that if we had a tank and we connected a flow meter, it would start flowing right away. However, if we turned this to off, this would only work if we hit the oxygen switch. So if you hit the oxygen, there's a solenoid back there that opens up and lets the O2 flow. And it's a great way to make sure that, you know, you're not bleeding your tank out. If you don't run a lot of calls, you can use this system. That way you turn it on and off. It's a very short run to the tank. It's not likely to leak from there. Usually it leaks at the oxygen manifold behind those two outlets, and going over to that one is usually where O2 leaks happen. So another benefit is if you're in a collision, a bad accident, and your oxygen system is severed. That actually happened to me many years ago. We were in a bad accident and the oxygen system was sheared. I didn't have this system to turn it off. I just had to run like hell out of the ambulance, but that's good for that too. So the exhaust fan is our next switch over here, and that's to evacuate any smells that might be back here. You see there's a vent there, and there's one back here also. Like that. So if someone throws up or gets, you know, has an accident in their pants or something like that, you can get that smell out of here. Suction. So you hit the suction switch, you could probably hear the motor come alive. There's our gauge right there. I'm just going to put my finger over. You see, there's that. And then you can increase or decrease from this. And there's that. So if you want to increase it, you can do that. Okay, there's the suction. And then there's power door locks, which is one of my favorite features. Let me close this door so you can see the thing moving. You just keep your eye on that little, let me zoom in right there so you can see it. And from over here, I can control that. And the same thing with the back doors. And there's a controller right here. Where's that? So there's also a light timer if you want to put the dome lights on a timer. If you're, you know, pulling up to the hospital, you want to start shutting everything down, you set your timer. And then there's at the back here, there's also more switches and a timer. And then there's also reach through if you can hear your SCBA tank leaking, or maybe one of those portable D tanks if you have a regulator on it. If you hear a leak, you can reach in there from that reach through and turn them off. And let's see, oh yeah, the electrical. Now on the wheeled coach, I love, one of my favorite things about wheeled coach is the simplicity of the electronics. I've had a couple hundred wheeled coach ambulances. I've never had a board go bad. You know, these relays will go bad from time to time. Let me open this up. You'll see there's some solenoids and stuff in there, and some 80 amp fuses. These are all things that you can buy from any auto parts store. The O'Reilly, AutoZone, Pep Boys, and that's a huge plus because you don't have to, you know, rely on the coach builder, you know, keeping something in stock, or, you know, only getting it from the coach builder. You can get it from anywhere. And you know, relays will fail. But you know, that's the bulletproof electronics in wheeled coach. That's one of my. I think that's why wheeled coach is my favorite. Horton, AEV, and a couple others have real fancy electronics, and everything's kind of digitized into a panel. But if just one of those buttons goes wrong, you know, it could be the air conditioning button. If that goes bad, the whole panel is bad. Yeah, you might be able to turn the dome lights on and off, but to fix that whole panel is $6,000 to $8,000 for a Horton. So I've had that problem myself. So I stay away from the fancy electronics. And with these, that's an $8 switch. So if the you know, switch for the air conditioner goes out, it's $8. And you know, so there's that. So here's, oh yeah, there's compartment space up above there. There's that compartment space down below there for, you know, BVMs and nasal cannulas, oxygen masks. There's a lockable narcotics locker up there, and I have the key for that. And is there anything else in here? And then IV hooks, there's 3 of them. Let's go look in the cab. I'll put the gurney back in a minute. Oh, you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna have to pause this. I'm gonna turn the ambulance around, so I'll be right back.